White people have co-opted the word black fatigue to mask racism and say racist and prejudiced tropes about us online. I figured I'd make a video to describe my white fatigue, my white malaise, my white exhaustion. FYP shows you what you're looking for. So if you're saying you're opening TikTok and all you're seeing is brawls and fights of black people, look within. Because why are you searching for us? Why are you monitoring us? You guys have the biggest monitoring spirits of life. If you're so tired of us, just leave us alone. I'm tired of white criminals. White people commit 70% of the crimes and arrests in this country. No such thing as black on black crime. You guys created that to continue to paint us as savages. Meanwhile, you guys are the ones committing all the crime. I'm tired of kids not being safe in school because people are being shot by white boys and girls in school. I'm tired of mass shootings in public places. I'm tired of bombers blowing up races, blowing up buildings. White people killing people. I'm tired of white serial killers. I'm tired of you guys praising white serial killers and then glorifying them by making movies and TV shows. White men committing crime and not going to...
Hello family, after discussing black fatigue on my recent YouTube episode, today we'll be discussing white fatigue, which mainly comes from black Americans getting tired of white racism. Even white Americans experience white fatigue. Each and every shooting happening in schools, courts and playgrounds, we call that white fatigue. Let's listen to the following videos carefully.
Stealing money from people's grandparents and stealing money from citizens and then you give them more and more. I'm tired of you guys causing the conditions for people not to be developed around the world or undeveloped and then label them as third world countries, second world countries, and then blame them for the reason that they're not developed, even though you're the reason they're not developed. I'm tired of being exposed to food that's been seasoned with air and imagination because these cows and chickens didn't have to die for no reason. I'm tired of Karens not minding their own business, and then when confronted about the business they didn't mind, then they have white tears, which then cause harm to white bodies, which then predicates police brutality, which you guys are the ones that perpetrate. So I'm tired of the fact that your grandparents and your great-grandparents caused the conditions for black people to live in ghettos, black people not to own homes, black people not to have access to education, access to funds and programs, and then blame us for living in the ghetto, and then blame us for the violence that we are subject to, and then blame us for the conditions that we live in. Wow. Story after story of teachers having inappropriate relationships with their teenage students. Tired of the white hoods and KKK and the neo-Nazis, some which just got attacked in Ohio because they felt entitled to be openly racist. Really confused and tired about those rock concerts where you guys go ahead and beat each other up, but we're savages. Very savage, uncouth ghetto behavior. Beating each other up for fun at concerts? Tired of the opioid crisis. I'm tired of white middle-class men who are criminals who all they care about is the bottom line, and they willingly put drugs into the system which kill kids and which kill college students. Wow. I'm tired of seeing overweight people in my 600-pound life not doing anything with themselves and living off the government. I'm tired of white people being the largest recipients of welfare in this country and DEI programs. I'm tired of the history that you guys created in this country, to the point where my parents are the first people in my family that integrated schools. My parents are the first people in my family that had full rights. Not even my mother. Sorry, my dad was maybe. And you guys acting like it's not real. That's what I'm tired of. Have a beautiful day, white folk. White people have co-opted black fatigue so they can spew hate and racist things towards us online. So I made a part one of this video and there was a few fragile white men in my comments. So I said, you know what, let me make a part two because the list is actually endless. Do you know how juvenile and lazy it is to say you have fatigue of an entire race of people and you're saying it with your whole chest online? The jokes also write themselves because in true fashion, you colonize a term that already exists and try to repackage it like it's your own because black fatigue is an actual thing. But let's dive in. Telling us that slavery was so long ago and we should forget about it when my parents literally were the first people in my family born with full rights. Not my mom because she's a woman. Tired of the media making the actions of one black or brown person represent the entirety of the groups when a white man can go shoot up a black church and be fed Burger King after. Being the highest perpetrators of shoplifting, but we're the ones that are followed in stores, we're the ones that are questioned, and we're the ones that are stopped when white middle-class women steal the most. I'm tired of cults, the KKK, the Proud Boys, the neo-Nazis, the militias, who work 10 times as hard and be the best in the room but missing out on opportunities, being 10 times better than you but being compared to mediocrity like Beyonce versus Taylor Swift. criminalizing black women's natural hair and then doing things like wear braids that black women wear, but say, but Vikings wore the braids, or try to make fun of women for wearing wigs when you criminalize their hair for the past 500 years so that things like the perm exist. Consistently telling us to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps when all of your grandfathers came back from the war and got handouts from the government. The majority of the white middle class exists because of handouts and welfare. Meanwhile, we weren't allowed to benefit from being war veterans because we're black. Then you tell us things like redlining isn't real, that gerrymandering isn't real, and that we're just all American. As if race doesn't matter. White fragility and white tears. Karens who called the police on black people for existing, like doing things like barbecuing in the park or sitting outside of our own homes. Destroying our cities when your team loses or conversely wins a game, meanwhile calling us thugs and looters for when we protest when black people are murdered on camera. White men who think the world revolves around them and that we owe them something. Being subjected to food made from fruit, jello, and cheese, and everything comes out of a can. Cultural appropriation versus appreciating. Cosplaying black people, wearing our clothes, wearing our style, taking our music, taking our dances, repackaging it, and then trying to sell it to the general public like you came up with it. Consistently making yourselves the victim after we experience police brutality, recorded on phones, killing people consistently, and then saying, Blue Lives Matter. All lives matter, reinforcing the fact that black lives doesn't matter because what you guys are professional gaslighters. I'm exhausted that Law & Order SVU is real and based off real stories because white men can't be trusted to be alone with kids or women. Tired of Ponzi schemes existing and being the status quo and these guys never being charged or arrested, and things like Firefest can go have a round two. Voting against basic human rights and then having the privilege to say, I regret my vote, I regret being MAGA. Policing of women's bodies while condoning violence against women. Your grandparents who participated in burning down of black establishments, black villages, and black towns when black people made money during segregation, leading to a decline in black wealth. Gentrification of black neighborhoods, black culture, black style, black music, and black dances, and then profiting from it. Villainizing black people when no other race has committed more harm and atrocities around the world to men, women, and children. So you guys can continue to deflect and hold yourselves unaccountable for all the things we're saying. You can continue to live in a world where you believe black people shouldn't exist and don't matter, and you can continue to live with the cognitive dissonance that you do not exude racism out of your body. Have the day you deserve, white folk.
I happen to be black, so I can say this, and I'm not really worried about what other people will say when I say this. Also, because for some reason, white people are not allowed to say this in America because they're going to be called a racist. But there's something that's happening in America right now, and it's kind of crazy that it's happening at the time that it's happening right now. And it's kind of like an awakening. That's something that's happening. And basically, that's just white people being tired of being called a racist. And by the way, more importantly, they are tired of the racism. And yes, you heard me correctly. I did not stutter. I said what I said. Yes, the racism that black people themselves have spewed or have been spewing on or about white people. Like, I kid you not, it's such a normal thing for a black person to call a white person a cracker or whatever they want to call them, or call them names or whatever, racial terms. Nobody bats an eye. Freedom of speech, right? But let a white person do the same thing, or not even the same thing, because the white person doesn't even have to call the black person a racial slur. They just have to say something that other black person thinks or feels is in some way racist. Like, for example, the other day I saw somebody make a video saying that they feel oppressed or they feel like a white person is being racist whenever they call them brother. Like, bro, is that how soft black people in America have become, where if a white person calls you brother, like, you're offended by that? That's racist in some way? Like, I don't know about you, but that's very crazy to me. And it's kind of interesting because what's been happening recently is like white people have started to speak their minds, as they rightfully should be able to do. They've been using that freedom of speech that, they had been granted by the Constitution, just like any other American. But yeah, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but like, basically white people have they're just tired of the shit. Like, they just gotten fed up, which is kind of funny. They are just simply not content with the fact that there are certain black people in America who are literally perpetuating and practicing the same racism that they complain about, which is incredible and very contradictory.
Black fatigue, she said. Let me tell y'all about my white fatigue. The white girl culture vultures, quote unquote Viking braids or Viking dreads, how they are quick to say that black people are criminals, but aren't their ancestors the ones that used to literally hang people from trees? Aren't white people the same ones that go to schools to pow pow? They hate government assistance, but they make up 60%. Motherfuckers named Brad or Chad, smelling like dog, getting out the water hair looking like pasta noodles, wet pasta noodles. Hate Hispanics or Mexicans but love trips to Mexico and celebrating Cinco de Mayo and Taco Tuesday. And most importantly, hating black people so much but always bringing us up. God damn.
You know what I'm getting? I'm getting white fatigue. And you know why? Is because every time I see a hashtag black fatigue post, in the comment section are these virulent, disgusting, nasty, redneck, hillbilly morons just chiming in. I mean, it's bad enough that the hashtag black fatigue posts are basically racist, saying, I'm a racist, I don't like black people, and here's why. And they're going on and puking out every reason why they hate black people. And they're calling it black fatigue. And then the comment section are white people just puking out the same garbage. And it's Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump every step of the way. You know, now that he's in office, it's like, hey, don't hold back. Tell him how you really feel. Man, you don't like black. Tell him why. Tell him why you don't like it. In fact, encourage everybody. Get them all together. In fact, y'all should join a group, and y'all should wear white hoods, and you should have a uniform and a pointy white. You should just join and make a club of all of you that have black fatigue. What could we call it? White people are making me so sad these days. You're embarrassing me. You're making me sick. I don't want to say it because I'll get banned. But y'all are embarrassing me. God help us. God help us.
Please tell me y'all saw the black fatigue video. I think as content creators, we need to all get together and make our white fatigue videos. I'll go first. White fatigue is getting on here, posting my opinion on something, and having a white person come on and tell me how much that they disagree with me. Another is white people basically going out and learning rap songs and getting invited to the cookout just because they know a rap song. I'm so over it. We're so over them just making it seem like everything is about them. We're so over them just coming to disagree with us just because they feel like they can. We're so tired of them being in our spaces just because they feel like they can. We can't do anything without a white person standing over our shoulder, monitoring how we're doing said things. We are tired. White fatigue has been going on for hundreds of years. We are tired of y'all. The entitlement. And Sis said that we are entitled. Entitled to what? The privilege that we don't have? The obsession that these people have with us is something that needs to be studied. Like, they need a whole course at Harvard to study the fact that white people are so obsessed with us. How are you so obsessed with us? Like, it makes no sense. Like, you hate our being, but you cannot leave us alone to save your own lives. That is a sickness. It's truly a sickness. Another thing I'm tired of, why do y'all feel like y'all can use the N-word? Don't worry, I'll wait. Y'all so tired of us? Leave our shit alone. Like at this point, we are gatekeeping as much shit as we can because we are tired of y'all stealing our shit. But you're tired of us. No, baby. We're tired. We've been tired. Y'all don't listen. Y'all don't listen. We keep telling y'all, stay out of our spaces. Why do y'all think that we wanted segregation? We want to get away from y'all. We're 100% down for segregation for a reason. We don't want y'all in our spaces anymore. We never wanted y'all in our spaces. But we truly, really are tired.
Hey, this message is to all the racist bigots out there who are claiming black fatigue. What's really going on is white fatigue, okay? We are sick and tired of listening to you tell stories about your Uncle Cletus McCracken. Okay, Stacy, we're sick and tired of you weaponizing your Bible, okay? Your family tree that's in the shape of a wreath, okay? Susan, we're really tired of hearing you spew gospel and Bible verses and all this other shit and turning around and delighting in the discomfort and misfortune of the people being harmed by this crime syndicate regime. Okay, we're sick and tired of you guys claiming to be patriots, but your brand of patriotism doesn't abide the Constitution. You are the antithesis of patriotic. Okay? We're sick and tired of hearing about it, John. About your black fatigue. When really what's going on is that you need to go to therapy. And you need to unpack the patriarchal, authoritarian religion that you've been indoctrinated into, and also unpack your white supremacy culture and your racism. Okay? You're a bigot. And a misogynist. And we're fatigued from that. We are fatigued from hearing about the unhealed white people all over this country who aren't doing their work. And if you don't know what the work is, then you're not doing it. The work is your personal work. Your house is a fucking mess. Okay? And it needs to be exorcised like an exorcism because it's full of evil shit and hatred. And you're bringing down the vibe. We're fatigued from the likes of you, Stacy. That's the fatigue. Get to work. You got a lot of fucking work to do.
Okay, so here we're talking about white fatigue. I just want to share a resource by my friend Dr. Joseph Flynn, who actually wrote a book called White Fatigue, and I want to recommend everybody read it. I no longer want to spend my days talking about what white people do that are exhausting, because for me that's counterintuitive to the work that I do. Y'all know what y'all do that's exhausting. I don't have to tell you that. But what I can do is give you this resource. It's called White Fatigue by Dr. Joseph Flynn. He is a professor at Northern Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois. I will be having a conversation with Dr. Flynn on his book, White Fatigue. But I do want to say this. I wrote a blog post that we're getting ready to move to Substack. I actually might move it today so you guys can read it. And essentially, I believe that white fatigue is built on black resilience. So the more resilient I am in relationship to white folks, for example, like when y'all stop doing your liberation work and then I take on the burden of just keep going, my resilience is what fuels your fatigue, and I'm no longer doing that. So anywho, I will get that uploaded to Substack, and also just check out this book. Like, just read about white fatigue and what that means and how it can help you on your journey. That's all I wanted to say. That's my hot take. Peace.
Here are 50 things that have given me white fatigue, and the list could go on, but here are just 50. Karens calling the police on black people for just existing, mass shooters being described as troubled young men, cultural appropriation without any appreciation, white people in locks talking about spirituality, all lives matter, I don't see color, white creators becoming famous for watered down versions of black culture, profiting off of black trauma on social media, weaponizing white tears, white savior complexes in real life and movies. I have a black friend as a get out of racism free card, white teachers punishing black students for being disruptive, gentrification marked as urban revitalization, being followed in grocery stores like you don't belong, police called because someone looked suspicious, white-led solid DEI training with no actual change, white people going viral for dances black people made. Why is it always about race with you? The obsession with controlling black hair, the criminalization of AAVE in schools and work, centering whiteness in conversations that aren't about them, singing the N-word because it's just a lyric, the legacy of colonization and pretending it's ancient history, slavery being taught as a necessary evil, internment camps being brushed over in history class, the Trail of Tears being summarized in a paragraph, mass incarceration of black and brown people, Confederate flags being called heritage, get over it was a long time ago, white people crying in HR and getting people fired, white tears when equity feels like a loss of power, denying white privilege when benefiting from it, whitewash media stories, white-run nonprofits helping black communities while not listening, demanding emotional labor while doing none themselves, wearing blackface as a joke, screaming reverse racism like it's real, appropriating AAVE, using it wrong, watching black playing like it's a Netflix genre, MLK quotes using to shame black protests, demanding calm from oppressed people while being violent, policing tone instead of hearing truth, stolen land turned into suburbs and golf courses, white men running diversity campaigns, asking can I touch your hair like it's normal, white people calling things ghetto while profiting from the aesthetic, voting for oppression and acting shocked by the results when everyone fucking told you so, posting black squares thinking that that's activism, not all white people when no one gasps, and thinking black fatigue is about you.
So they got this thing called black fatigue, huh? Well, what about white fatigue? What about the behavior that y'all been putting on us for 500 years? The way y'all stole us from our land, from our heritage. You put us into a world of slavery. You put us into a world of Jim Crow, where we was dehumanized as a people for hundreds of years. And now that everything has changed now you sick of us rejecting your racism. I don't call it black fatigue. I just call it intelligence. Because we're tired. Peace.
Hi there. Just yelling into the void. So, part of my white fatigue is the complete unwillingness to understand white privilege and what it actually is. A lot of white people seem to think that when you tell them they have white privilege, that somehow you're telling them, well, you just had it easier, or you've never had a hard time, or you've never had down times, or you've never had to pinch pennies. Not the case. That is not what white privilege is. It doesn't mean that you haven't had hard times. What it means is that you haven't had, in addition to those hard times, a judgment placed on you by society of your skin color. You don't have that. And you have been able to take advantage of certain systems that are in place that uphold white supremacy. That is what white privilege is. It's not that you didn't have a hard time. Your color wasn't giving you a hard time. It wasn't creating the issues in your life. Not the color of your skin. For black people, it's different. They have hard times. They have issues. And they also have the strike of their skin color against them, where people are judging them on that, or oppressing them based on that, or basically holding them back based on that, or incarcerating them because of that. So that is what white privilege is. It's that you didn't have that experience. For example, I used to work with this guy. He was your typical Macomb County white guy. If you know, you know. And I remember him telling me that he was a self-made man and that he didn't experience any benefits from white privilege, and that was just a bunch of bunk and it was made up. Well, he also talked about how there was programs in his neighborhood when he was growing up with the boys club and things like that, and how great they were and how they, really helped put them on a path, and had them interacting and learning how to socialize and kind of building connections. Yeah, building connections is really important. And because when you lack education, you can fall back on those connections to kind of prop you up. So that was one of the things that he talked about. And I thought, gee, I wonder if they had those programs available in minority neighborhoods. I don't think so. But another thing would be the neighborhood that he grew up in. What was the tax base like? What about his parents? What advantages were they given? Was his dad able to take advantage of the GI Bill for education, which a lot of black men were denied? There's just so many things in place, so many systems in place that have given white people advantages that black people didn't have. They weren't offered to them. They didn't have access to them, and that's your privilege. I hope this helps, and that's my rant. Have a good one. Bye.
White fatigue is similar to black fatigue as we have watched from the above videos. Black Americans are the ones who are the most upset with whites under Donald Trump's administration. Will this fatigue come to pass? Let me know what you think on the comment section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you. Bye.